Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Nerds of the North podcast. I am your host, number one, Matt, and joining me today, as always, is host number two,
Nick.
which I totally missed this intro the last episode we did, probably because I was a little too drunk. Getting into this episode, though, we're going to be talking about a Hawkeye again, episode 4, I believe. And so we're going to be talking about our thoughts and feelings on this most recent episode. And in addition to that, we'll probably do a little bit of discussion about maybe some of our favorite Christmas movies. It is December, tis the season, as they say. And in addition to that, I'll have some minor commentary on Halo, only just because the campaign for that recently came out. And I haven't played it at all, but I have some thoughts on things Halo related so far. So, Nick, what are your thoughts and feelings on Hawkeye so far? Just the season going forward as we have it, and then this most recent episode.
It's good.
All right, that's everything for us, and we're going to be ending this episode pretty short today. You all have a good
one. I guess before I start off on that, Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, this is kind of a long week, work-wise. I mean, a whopping 2 extra hours longer than I typically want to be working, but yeah, it was good. It's been a busy week for myself and for my wife. Just a lot of stuff going on, and yeah, it was a pleasure getting to watch Hawkeye, and I've been doing some spring cleaning, so to speak, in terms of my backlog and my video game playing, and so it's been nice being able to dive back into that and get some things done I've wanted to do. So
how's the weather down in Austin?
Weather-wise, it's cooler. I went for a run today, and definitely a little windier than I would have liked for going for a jog, but other than that, it was pretty pleasant. I needed to get out of the house. I love my dogs dearly. I have 2 of them. One of them's she's going to be turning 4, or is she 4 now? Jesus Christ! But the other one, Puppy, he is under a year old, and in that I'm working from home most of the time, I am with them 24/7 most days. So I desperately needed to get out of the house. I am the stay-at-home mom regarding dogs in my household. And so I was like, I need to go for a run because Daddy needs some time by himself. And so it's definitely nice to get out for a bit. But yeah, no, weather-wise, it's definitely been cooler, at least by Texas standards. Probably like down into the 50s, maybe 40s even, with the wind being counted in. But
wow, that's crazy. I didn't realize it got that cold down there.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I should look at it right now. But what about yourself? How's this past week for you?
It was pretty good. Been pretty active in the evenings with church functions. I'm pretty lethargic today. I don't know if you can tell just by my overall demeanor, but yeah. After this, I'll probably take a brief nap and then go into the evening with a giant smile on my face, ready for anything to happen.
I'm probably going to be making a pot of coffee after this, just for the sake of being able to stay awake, because I'm old now and I need coffee to stay awake past like 9 o'clock. And I want to get them.
I'm the opposite now. It's like if I drink any sort of caffeine after like 2 o'clock, I'll probably be up until midnight.
Yeah. God, I had a cup of coffee like 8 o'clock on Friday night. And like did stay up a little bit later, like 12:30. And 12:30 though, I went to bed and just out. Just totally not even a problem. So I think that's more of I have a caffeine addiction problem versus a sleep schedule problem.
Yeah, it gets pretty dark here too, pretty early now, and I think it's sort of affecting me more than it usually does. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, no, I've been kind of thinking that myself here, that like probably like 5:45 and it gets pretty dark, like sunset. You know, like the high for today was 53, or no, I'm sorry, the high for today was 71, but right now it's 53.
Yeah, in Portland, according to my Alexa, it's 48 right now, but it's been extremely windy and extremely rainy. So,
And yeah, sunset today is at 5:30. So
yeah, I'm sure it's earlier here just because I'm further north, but I'm not sure what. Oh yeah, so let's do the Hawkeye thing. Just wanted
the
to
Hawkeye thing.
get it. I don't know. So I guess I really enjoyed this episode quite a bit. Actually, I think it's my favorite so far, and I definitely dug Yelena showing up. Spoilers, I guess.
Yes.
Like I think 40 minutes in or so, and I guess the entire internet was cock blocked a little bit with Kingpin not getting introduced. I guess I always had heard it was episode 5, but I guess there was rumors out there it was going to be in episode 4. So I was perfectly okay. I'm like, I thought it was going to be episode 5. So I was never upset about his non-introduction in episode 4.
Huh, that's interesting. Yeah, because we had spoken about episode 5 in the last episode.
Yeah, because that's what I thought it was. And I
Yeah,
guess all the internet's like a little ahead of itself, just calm down, internet.
I mean, I don't know. I try not to set up any expectations for a show in that regard, and like the expectation that someone or something is going to happen on a certain episode, unless it's explicitly said, like, which I don't think had happened with Hawkeye as far as I'm aware. So it kind of seems like the internet was setting itself up for, disappointment in that there had this expectation. Hasn't episode 5 kind of been the penultimate episode for most shows through Disney Plus now anyway?
The Marvel shows, yes.
So I feel like expecting Kingpin to show up, because I'm sure he is. It's more or less confirmed at this point, like something like that's going to happen. So expecting an episode 4 just kind of seems like you're jumping the gun a little bit.
Yeah. I guess I will say I would like to make just a general apology. That maybe that's a little bit too drastic. It's not anything like that, but I do feel like I sort of underplayed how good this show has become last week, especially. I think it's a good show. I actually think it's way better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I would even say definitely on the same level, at least I think, with Loki and WandaVision in some regards. So and we'll see how it finishes out, because I do think that last episode was especially engaging, and it's well paced and fun. And I'm looking forward to the next episode quite a bit. I don't know if at least on the West Coast, if I will stay up till midnight to watch it, like I was doing with The Mandalorian or WandaVision or something like that. But I am enjoying it quite a bit, and I am exceedingly excited for Boba Fett to come out at the end of December, and we also have Spider-Man coming up next week too, so that's pretty exciting. I don't know if we'll get a chance to see that right away or not, but
I want to try and see it right away. I don't know. Yeah, like you said, I don't know if that's going to happen for me either. That would be really nice.
Yeah,
but
that movie it's really just exciting that they're holding back that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in it. So just everyone's just so excited to find out if they really are. I mean, it's pretty guaranteed at this point. I think it'd be, if they weren't, I think there would be riots in the streets for sure.
I mean, it would be kind of crazy for them. I mean, don't get me wrong. I really like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think he's done a fantastic job in the role. I think he does a good job of balancing the Peter Parker, because that's always the comparison, right? Is that like Tobey Maguire was a great Peter Parker, but not so much of a Spider-Man. versus Andrew Garfield. I think he was a really good Spider-Man, but not necessarily a very good Peter Parker. And I think Tom Holland kind of does like a good job of balancing both the roles in a meaningful way. But like, could Tom Holland as Spider-Man / Peter Parker handle the likes of Doc Ock and the Lizard and Green Goblin? Like Green Goblin, especially like Willem Dafoe. Like I feel like Tom Holland's is not even on that same level acting wise. And so I just feel like it would be really remiss for Tobey Maguire not to come back to be the foil to Willem Dafoe to deal with him as a villain. Like it just would seem so out of place without him being there.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Tom Holland could defeat Green Goblin on his own, but I don't know if he could defeat all of those previous enemies without some sort of aid.
Yeah, like especially, I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's any, not in wanting to put all of their eggs in one basket, I don't think we're getting like any Venom in this movie necessarily.
I could see it maybe being an end credit scene.
Yeah, it's possible, right? Like
there is rumors what the end credit scene is already.
And because I do want that storyline for Spider-Man, because it's an important storyline, right? Like him having the symbiote suit and being Black Suit Spider-Man, I think is a really important thing to include in the backstory of the character. I will say that I don't think Spider-Man 3 in the Tobey Maguire or Sam Raimi directed films, I don't think they necessarily did a fantastic job of approaching that subject matter, but like it's memorable to say the least. You know, emo Spider-Man certainly has like become, you know, meme-tastic since its inception.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think that particular storyline could be taken a little bit more seriously with, you know, with our current players in place right now, to really like bring that to the big screen and have it be something meaningful and maybe not so meme-tastic. But I don't know. I'm excited with the notion.
Yeah. I mean, if they do keep Tom Holland around into the future, I do think they need to at least acknowledge that part of it.
But that being said, yeah, I would agree with you for the most part regarding this most recent episode of Hawkeye. I really enjoyed the character development between Clint and shoot, how am I forgetting her name? Kate Bishop, thank you. Yeah, between Kate Bishop and Clint, like that emotional development between the characters, actually making them like have moments with one another to enjoy one another's company and to to develop that relationship a little bit. This fucking memester over here. Like I really enjoyed that relationship being developed a little bit more. Like so far, all Kate has been to Clint is a huge pain in the ass. And so I was really glad that they were able to develop that relationship in a way where like Clint is clearly trying to avoid deeper points of conversation regarding his past, but he's willing to share some of his skills and some of what he's experienced with Kate, to like kind of let her understand where he's coming from. But yeah, like I really like that character building. But an episode like that, I will say, is with the limited amount of time that this show has to like conclude its story, but also like get the point across that like the full story is told and the full character development has been done. I feel like we're running out of episodes to do that, and we had this most recent episode be really heavily focused on just the relationship between Clint and Kate. And I really like the episode, but I just feel like that they're running out of time to tell this story properly. And it's kind of the same problem I felt with like Falcon the Winter Soldier. It just feels a little rushed. The memes are getting ridiculous. The tracking on this one is fantastic. They really did a good job of editing that together. Jesus Christ.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. We'll get back to the important things.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, like with Hawkeye, is that I like the type of episodes that we just got served with episode 4, but I do feel like they're burning daylight in terms of like getting the story told without it feeling rushed with episodes like this, where it doesn't really feel like much happened.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I think I would wish there was maybe even 8 episodes in this season. I do feel like I'm enjoying it well enough that I wish it would continue on further than 2 more. I feel like it's already over.
Yeah, I mean, like we have 2 more episodes. Like, how much are they going to cover? This most recent episode too was even short by standards so far. Like
Disney
like
Plus
35
has
minutes.
Those really long credits.
Yes. Yeah. I hadn't really pointed that out, but every time it happens, my wife is like, "Oh, here start the credits," and it's like 5 minutes worth of credits, which, not that I don't want people to be credited for the episode, but it is a pretty tremendous amount of background crew to
if you actually watch it, it's because it has it in a bunch of different languages for some reason, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're accounting for all the different languages, I'm sure, that are being translated.
Yeah, I haven't
for each episode.
I haven't thought about it much at all, so I'm always just rather bitter about it. I mean, other shows don't do, like other streaming services don't do that. Why does Disney do that?
Well, I mean, maybe it shouldn't be why Disney's doing that. Maybe it should be more why aren't other streaming services doing that? Like, I think to some degree, I think they are artificially padding the length of the episode to some degree. But at the same time, I do want everyone who was a part of building this episode to be included.
Well, do you watch the credits?
Not really, no. But for people for whom that matters, I think that should be something they have available to them.
I don't know. I almost feel like they should have it as something separate if they want to do it that way, I'm just saying, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Sure, yeah, no, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because back in the old days, they used to run the credits at the beginning of the movie versus the end. And so you'd get the entire run of credits and then the movie would start.
Yeah, I don't think you get the entire roll of credits. You get some of the big
not entirely. It would probably be the main acting cast.
Actually, I remember this because it was actually a huge deal back in the day. I think it was part of like some sort of motion picture union. And when Star Wars first came out, obviously Star Wars doesn't have that. They had the scroll of like kind of the background of where it's coming from. And I guess that was pretty controversial at the time for those unions or whatever, that it was whatever was requiring them to put that at the beginning of movies. So it's interesting.
And I don't know if there's necessarily a right answer to that. I mean, like, if I'm in a movie theater, I'm watching through the credits. because I'm there. And I'm looking for names that I recognize or names that I see. Versus when I'm at home, the moment the movie's over, the movie gets paused or the movie ends and I turn it off, right? Like I think most people can relate to that.
Well, I mean, I don't watch the credits in the theater either unless it's a Marvel movie. And even then I'm kind of zoning out until the kicker comes at the end.
I don't know. Like I tend to, when I'm in the theater, I tend to pay more attention to the credits. And maybe that's just something that's become a bit of a habit because of Marvel, because of the after credit sequences. Not every movie has after credit sequences, but I do find myself looking at the end of the movie. I'll bring my phone out and I'll look up whether or not there's after credits sequences or scenes to make note of for this particular movie. And most of the time the answer is no. But you know, if there is something, I'll probably see it by that point or something, you know.
Yeah, I think it works for Marvel. I don't know if other movies did it. If I would like it quite as much. Because Marvel, I'm ultimately interested in what's coming next, but in a lot of films, I feel like they would abuse it.
I mean, like if you
care.
if they have something interesting,
think of it like Jumanji. Oh, here's our after credit sequence. It's like The Rock farting on a monkey or something, and then it's like the gas fumes form like Jumanji 2 coming in 2024 or something.
Right.
Actually, I'd probably watch that. Not gonna lie.
see, you're proving your own point wrong here.
Well, if it was legitimately The Rock farting on a monkey, I would probably stick around to see that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I want the people who worked on a movie to be properly credited in some way. And
yeah, well, so I think the Disney, and I could be wrong, but I think they literally just show the same credits multiple times, just in different languages, which I don't know why that's necessary if you're watching it in English. But
I mean, you're not wrong there. I could see that argument a little bit more, or I could agree with that argument a little bit more because it reminds me of a similar argument for video games in download sizes, like regarding language packs. It's something that ends up taking up a huge amount of room on your computer or your console regarding if you have a downloaded version of a game or not. I know that like probably the worst offender of that is like Call of Duty. Call of Duty's current download size is enormous. It's like nearing 200 gigs in size, right?
Wow,
so
crazy.
Like it's huge, right? And so that could be mitigated to some degree if you got the option to choose language packs. So you could choose English so that you don't need the, you know, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, you know, like dialects to be included with your download. But that's just it's another thing that a game company has to do to include as an option. So I think a lot of companies don't do that. They just have one download, you get all the languages, deal with it. And for most games, it's probably not a big issue, you know, depending on the size of the game. But some games are ginormous. And those audio files for different versions of the game done in different languages can take up a lot of space on your machine. And so if you could designate English as your language, you don't need the other ones. Like if you're watching Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever from North America, unless you've chosen a particular language pack, then it should probably be just defaulting to English, right?
I know it's, I mean, I don't mind the option to select the different languages because ultimately it's not taking up any more space on my computer if I'm just streaming. It's really the credits, but again, it's not a huge deal. I don't understand why they need to do it, and I think you're right. Maybe it is just to pad the time. I have no idea, but
I mean,
Disney Plus, as far as I'm aware, is the only one that does that. I'm not 100% sure what their reasoning is.
Yeah, I mean, I really I don't know.
I should look into it. We can probably find out in like 2 seconds if I just like look it up right now. So.
Yeah, but what's the fun of that? Speculation. Right? No, like I feel like it's padding screen time because if you're going to make comparisons, off the top of my head, this isn't exact minutes by any stretch, but episode 3 of Hawkeye was 40 minutes plus in its runtime. And I think with credits included, it was probably in like that 45 to 47 minute mark. Versus this most recent episode 4, you're looking at like 35 minutes of episode with 40 to 42 minutes with credits included, and that I think that's a pretty significant amount of episode missing, or a bit of a difference to where like more story could be told, or more dialogue could have been included, or another action sequence, something, and 6 episodes for a season is really short.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping it gets to season 2. I don't know if Jeremy Renner would want to do it. I also I know there's been some talk, I heard this specifically from Grace Randolph, where maybe the Thunderbolts or whatever team that Julia Dreyfus is setting up, who the leader of that team might be. I guess in the past it has been Hawkeye, so maybe that they could use him in that role, and that perhaps maybe that's why Valentina or whatever Julia is playing. That maybe that's why she sent what's her name, Yelena, after Hawkeye to begin with, was to somehow draw him in to be the leader of that team.
Sure.
So I don't know. It's all just speculation essentially, which is part of the fun of these shows. So why not engage with it? But I do kind of feel like I don't want Jeremy Renner to leave quite yet. I feel like I'm just kind of getting to know him.
Yeah, I think that in the time that we've seen Hawkeye in all of the movies, like how much character development have we had with him outside of him being kind of the dad figure, right? Like he's had a lot more meaningful contact with Wanda over the movies, in meeting her and kind of in being her, confidant in a lot of ways.
These Eastern European women, he just seems to be drawn toward.
He just seems to be really drawn to them. I guess, you're, Black Widow. But like outside of that, not like a whole lot going on. I think Endgame was probably like the most development you see from him.
I'd say maybe Age of Ultron for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking of you find Clint as Ronin, by means of Black Widow, and seeing how torn up he is about the loss of his family and how that's affected his decision making and like what the kind of person he is, and then him losing his, more or less his best friend in Black Widow by the end of Endgame. Like it just seems like you get a lot of ups and downs for this character, and mostly downs, which really drive like what this character is about and how much family and friends really mean to him. And in having his family restored, he puts away the cowl, so to speak, Ronin, only to then have to be dealing with those demons later in the show.
Yeah. There's also some rumors or speculation, and I think they're right, about whose watch that is that they go to retrieve, which ends up being Echo's house. But that watch, they're speculating, was actually belonged to his wife, which I think is correct. And I think she may have actually been an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well at some point. it's not even speculating, she might have been Mockingbird, which was a character played, already had been played in the television Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think pretty well. I can't remember the actress's name right now, but I think she did a good job. So I would be a little bit sad that she would essentially be recast as Mockingbird, but
sure.
Oh well.
Interesting. Okay. Because this whole time, my assumption, I have not watched Agents of Shields at all, really. Like I've watched a few episodes, but not enough. I have no knowledge of the show, deep lore wise. So my whole assumption has been that the watch, in knowing in that it came from Avengers Tower, I was assuming that it was Tony's.
Yeah, people were thinking that as well. Yeah, that was like, he had something like that in one of the films. I think probably like Iron Man 3, where he's wearing a watch and he was able to transform it into the suit pretty quickly. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Hopefully, unless it's just like one of those things that you never really find out. Like,
I mean, I'm assuming we'll find out. Like,
yeah,
the fact that it's become a central part of the story. Because I was wondering where the hell that watch went. Because it was a little implied with I think the dog's name of the show appears to be Pizza Dog.
Which is from the comic.
Is it? I thought he might have been called Lucky. I'd heard Lucky bandied.
Yeah, I think originally the dog's name was Arrow, and I think it may have taken on a few names, but I think its main name was Pizza Dog.
Okay, so Pizza Dog it's kind of implied in that scene
that the watch is the dog's.
Well, no, dumb. That like Pizza Dog might have like taken the watch, or it got like attached to his person in some way, right? You know, because like the gangster, whatever, low time crook finds it, and then Pizza Dog has this interaction with that guy, and then Kate shows up in the Ronin suit, and then they go running off together. It's not really explicitly shown that the watch is still with the bad guy, or that Kate or the dog has it. This is kind of left up in the air of like, where's this watch that apparently is important?
Yeah, I assume we will find out. I think the theory that it's Hawkeye's wife sounds correct to me, just because she was able to track it, and it seemed really important that he retrieved it. And also, it does seem like Clint's family is going to get more involved with the show as a potential threat that maybe Kingpin will hold against him.
Sure. I mean, that would make sense. I mean, I think that's totally Kingpin's MO, right? I mean,
yeah, he'll use his generally huge body for. I'm bringing it back to last week. That was really funny. Part of his skill set.
Yeah, well, I mean, like he's at the end of the day, like Kingpin is he's a big guy. He's strong, but he's not superpowered usually, you know, or at least in my knowledge of him. And so it would imply that he would need more nuanced ways of dealing with people who are stronger, more powerful than him. And so if he's going to be dealing with Clint in an Avenger, he needs some sort of leverage over him. And so maybe that's why he ends up leading the Thunderbolts. Who's to say? You know, it's not so much of something that's his choice, but it's more of, you either lead the Thunderbolts or we kill your family. Like, so
pretty dark. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would probably be the only reason that Clint would do that, right? I mean, he's been very begrudging in this story so far in Hawkeye, in that he wants to make sure Kate's okay, and he wants to get the suit back. That's like his whole mission. And he'll do whatever to make that happen, but like he doesn't want to be doing this. He wants to be home with his family. So it would have to be something pretty extreme to warrant him sticking around for any longer. So I don't know. that's kind of where I'm seeing things going.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting watching it all play out. Like you said, I am curious how they can wrap this up in just a few episodes. So seems like there's a lot of twirling plates right now that have to be resolved here, but in 2 episodes, I don't know. So I do hope it gets a season 2. I hope it does.
Mm.
Maybe they can just release it at every Christmas, and Clint always has to get home for Christmas.
I mean, that would be really funny.
Yeah,
be like the Die Hard of Hawkeye.
yeah.
I just these six episode shows, man. Like 6 episodes at like 40 to 35 minutes in length is just, I really don't think it's long enough to tell these stories.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think of like a movie though, like you think of Black Widow or Eternals or Shang-Chi. Those are just, well, in the case of Black Widow and Shang-Chi, those are just like 2.5 hour long movies. We kind of just accept that as being enough runtime, but I think as a TV viewer, you kind of expect a little bit more.
Well, yeah, I mean, like if you're going to make that comparison, I mean, you're looking at, yeah, like a 2.5 hour movie. But if we're going with 40 minutes of as the like rough base time for, I don't know, Hawkeye, for example, that's still 4 hours versus a 2 to 2.5 hour movie. So you still have a lot more runtime in a show to be able to tell this story. And it doesn't really feel like that time is being used very wisely, at least with Hawkeye. And that being said, we haven't seen the end. We don't know. Maybe they do a great job of wrapping up everything, but I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot. Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of spinning plates right now, and I have kind of a hard time imagining that they're going to fully tell this story in a way that doesn't feel rushed. I hope they do, but I don't know.
I do like that this show seems to be kind of a companion piece to the Black Widow movie that came out over the summer.
Sure.
Because you almost kind of see what happened in Budapest from their 2 different angles, which I kind of like, both Hawkeye and Black Widow's angle. Though you don't actually see it happen, but you kind of get both their perspectives from it.
Right.
Which I kind of dig. And obviously there's been some crossover with Yelena. But I will say that Yelena's performance in this, based off her performance in Black Widow, she's a lot quieter than in that film. I thought she would be talking more.
Yes.
But I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, and there is quite a bit of time difference between this movie or the timeline between this movie and the show. So maybe she's changed during that time period as well and become more of a cold-blooded assassin. I don't know.
I guess I haven't thought about this, but do we have much of a timeline in terms of when Hawkeye is taking place versus when the end of, I mean, I guess the Black Widow movie takes place
after Civil War. So I think there's about an 8-year time difference between that movie and this one.
Yeah, it's a pretty long time frame.
Yeah.
So, but she's also actively using Black Widow gear. Like she's got those the wristband bracelet buddies that do like the red electricity. So she still has that equipment and is using it, but it's been like 8 years. Yeah, I don't know. But you are right though, like by comparison, she's very mouthy in the Black Widow movie. And in Hawkeye, she's the silent assassin, which doesn't really seem like super in line with her character, at least from when she's been released from Black Widow control.
The other thing I kind of dug too about the ending, and it's something that I think The Mandalorian did really well too in its season 2 finale.
Sure.
It's really involved a lot of female characters without it coming across as really transparently like feminist or kind of like,
Sure.
at the end of both Infinity War and Endgame, there's this scene where like it's only all women for a scene, and it's very
pretty on the nose.
transparent. It's very it's actually to me a little cringeworthy, but
Sure.
just having those 3 women in Hawkeye, like if you didn't even think about it, you wouldn't even think that it's 3 women who are badasses. But
yeah, it's the fact that they draw attention to it in Infinity War and in Endgame. Like in Endgame, they really they lean into that really hard. And like, look, it's all the women. Like, I'm sorry, but like Gwyneth Paltrow does not fit in with like a feminist narrative like in a movie. Like, she barely remembers being in these movies to begin with. Have you seen some of her commentary on Hawkeye? I say commentary. She doesn't have any commentary.
Yeah, and I did because that kind of crap shows up in my Facebook feed, and it's kind of weird because I really don't care. And like I don't fault Gwyneth Paltrow for not knowing. It's like she's not a fan, and she's just doing a job, so I don't know. It doesn't bug me that she doesn't know what's going on.
I mean, I don't know. It just seems to me like to be a little tone deaf, to not to be a part, to still be an active member of that universe in some capacity, and to like, what's Hawkeye? Like, for her to not know at all, like, what's Hawkeye? That's not a question that says, oh, who's Hawkeye, would have been even more perturbing. But like,
she doesn't. I mean, does she even act that much anymore? I don't even know. She's probably more involved with their products or something.
Her shitty health brand that means nothing to anyone's health and well-being.
Yeah, I know, it's all over Reddit. I've done no research, so I'm not gonna criticize her. So,
you don't have to do a lot of research because she certainly didn't. But
yeah,
but that's a whole different conversation. But
well, I think overall, those are my thoughts in episode 4. We talked about it a lot more than I was even expecting to. So, can probably move on to the Christmas topic if we want to go there.
Sure. Yeah, I'm totally down for some Christmas shenanigans. I would have to pick one out of my several favorite Christmas
movies. Do you want to do like top 3 or top 2?
I mean, I could definitely do a top 2 off the top of my head. Top 3. If we keep talking about it, I could probably come up with a top 3. Actually, no, top 3. I got it.
This list is going to be like so stupid because I'm going to say these movies and they're just off the top of my head. And then I'll think later, I'm like, oh, I actually kind of like that movie a little better, maybe. I don't know.
No, I know exactly what my number 3 pick would be for sure. But
all right, let's just do top 3. Why not? I don't think this will take too long. We don't have to talk about this too long.
Yeah, we'll do a top 3, but we'll only discuss in any sort of depth or length the number 3 pick on our lists, and then we'll move forward with the list moving forward, right?
Wait, so are we starting at 3 and then going to 2 and then 1, or are we starting?
Yeah, we can list our top 3 from 3, 2, and then 1. But next week we'll do 2. We'll discuss film number 2 on our list.
Oh, I see. I get you.
Yeah,
and then the last week, then we'll talk about our number 1.
Yeah, see, because then it'll be right before Christmas, and then we can have a Christmas extravaganza.
No, I think we should just talk about their top.
Because if we talk about how long have we been talking already? Like we
won't have to talk too long about them.
All right. I mean, we can do all 3 if you want. I'm totally down for that.
Let's just do all 3. It won't take that long.
Okay.
It won't take that long.
So, all right. So what's your number 3 pick? Then I'll do nothing. We'll go back and forth.
I'm gonna go Gremlins.
Ooh, good pick. Good choice.
Yeah, I've always really loved that film, and it's kind of speaks to my soul. That film does on a very chaotic level.
That's actually a good way of putting it.
Like something about little critters causing havoc is always rung true.
it has, I think I would compare it to Nightmare Before Christmas. In that like it's a combination of things, that like one thing that's so wildly not Christmas, which in the case of Gremlins is like just scary monsters or like little critters wanting to murder people. Christmas, and then they like combine the two. So yeah, no, I think that's a good pick for number 3.
Yeah. Specifically the first one, not the sequel.
No, for sure. Yeah, we don't talk.
I know I like the sequel. Don't get me wrong. It's just not a Christmas movie.
No.
Okay, that's number 3 for me.
My number 3 pick would definitely be Miracle on 34th Street.
Okay, wow. I wasn't thinking you'd stretch that far back.
No, I mean, like my version of Miracle on 34th Street, or my version, the one that I'm very familiar with, is let me make sure I'm getting the Miracle on 34th Street, because it's not the 1947 film, it's the 1994 film.
Oh, I haven't even seen that movie.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you probably have, because it has Richard Attenborough as he played he was in Jurassic Park. He's the creator of the park.
Oh, I still don't think I've seen this film, Matt. I didn't even know there was a remake.
You've never seen this version? Really? That seems so surprising to me. So Mara Wilson, I think. Yeah, Mara Wilson played the child in this movie.
I didn't know Baby Yoda was in it.
Baby Yoda? What?
You said the child. She plays the child.
She plays the child. Okay, that was a bit of a stretch, but I like where your brain went to there. No, yeah, she, yeah, at least I'm pretty sure that she played the child. Yeah, she went on to play Susan Walker. Susan Walker, Miracle on 34th Street. I'm pretty sure.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mara what?
Her name is Mara Wilson.
Wilson. Yeah. What do you feel about the name Mara?
Mara? I mean, it's fine. 1997. Yeah, she would have been a child when this movie came out. Yeah, so she definitely played the kid. But yeah, no, like it's just a really heartwarming movie about the existence of Santa Claus by means of a courtroom. Like something about that really just like struck me as really interesting as a kid. And a lot of the people in this movie I thought did a really good job in their roles. And I don't even know if this particular version of the movie is well known or has been received very well, but I really enjoyed it tremendously as a kid. Like,
yeah, I don't even know about this film. I think you're making it up.
No, because Mara Wilson, she played the kid in this. Because she's Matilda.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And she was fantastic as the kid in that. And then like some of the other talent in this, like Richard Attenborough, like he played Santa, or Kris Kringle as he is credited. Some of the other names probably wouldn't be nearly as well known, but like you would know the face of Dylan McDermott.
He's definitely a distinctive face.
He has a very, if you saw him, you'd be like, okay, yeah, no, this guy, he's been in stuff. You'd probably know him more from like Law and Order, maybe American Horror Story, but like I know him primarily from Miracle on 34th Street from fucking 20 years ago.
Kind of looks like
20 years ago.
I feel like he kind of looks like Clive Owen.
Yes, totally. No, he actually, he looks like a black-haired Clive Owen, or like a brunette Clive Owen.
Isn't Clive Owen have brown hair?
Does he? I don't know. No, yeah. No, totally. Like
He looks
like,
old in
definitely.
some of these pics, though. Wow, I was thinking of a younger, more dashing Clive Owen.
Yeah, that's how we remember him in our hearts. But yeah, that's we've seen. This is what ends up happening. That's my number 3 pick. What's your number 2 pick?
Man, see, now that I'm thinking about all these Christmas things, it's all kind of rushing in. Like I definitely have like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I have Frosty the Snowman. I have like kind of wild cards like a Die Hard or like Christmas Vacation or man, there's just so many. But I'm gonna go with maybe even the Grinch. But I'm gonna go with a more a 90s Christmas movie that I just rewatched last week and I actually enjoyed quite a bit. It was Tim Allen's The Santa Claus.
That's my number 2 pick too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I don't know, just something about that movie, or even rewatching it, actually has me weirdly tearing up during parts of it. The soundtrack is pretty amazing in it, actually. And beyond it's actually like a legit drama during parts of it where he's losing his child because everyone thinks he's delusional.
Right.
And when he abducts his child at the end of it, and it is very honestly kind of scary. If I feel like if that really took place, the mom would not be as chill as she is when he shows up again.
No, right.
It's a really good movie. I actually really like it. The sequels notwithstanding, specifically the third, I remember being particularly bad. I think the Santa Claus 2, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'll watch it. No, I'm not going to watch it tonight, but maybe I'll watch it tomorrow night. I think Santa Claus 2 is not as good, but it's still pretty good. It doesn't have like the drama aspect of it.
No, the Santa Claus 2 has the really awkward.
Is that where he has to find his wife or Mrs.
Yeah,
Claus?
he has to find his Mrs. Claus.
She's Juliet from Lost. I remember that.
Yeah, and like I remember having specifically that problem because I don't know, like the premise of the first movie made sense to me to some degree. Like, and I don't know, maybe that's just childhood nostalgia. It's like, yeah, man, you accidentally caused the death of Santa Claus. You're Santa Claus now. Deal with it. Like, but to have to like lure a woman in to like be your wife, the Mrs. Claus to your Mr. Claus seems a little evil and conniving. But
well, it has to be true love. I think that's the whole point of it, doesn't it? If I remember correctly.
I don't think true love has anything to fucking do with it. I don't think the North Pole gives a fuck about
no,
true love.
It did. It was part of it. If I do remember correctly, she had to actually like love him. It couldn't just be here's a Russian bride or something.
You're right. Yeah. I just remember because like he has like a week to woo this woman into marrying him, essentially. It's like a week. Like that makes most like romantic dating shows like look downright romantic by comparison.
Yeah, I mean, good thing that he was. I mean, not that Tim Allen's like a great looking guy or anything, but good thing he wasn't like Big Ed from 90 Day Fiance or something.
Yeah, good gravy.
I've watched that version of the Santa Claus, but
I mean, that'd be pretty funny if like Tim Allen himself. Like, yeah,
do you know who I'm talking about with Big Ed?
No, I don't actually.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll show it. I'll show a picture of Big Ed real fast, just so you get an idea of what we're working with here.
Big Ed 90 Day Fiance. Oh wait, I think I know who you're talking about. I only recently became aware of this person's existence. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Jarvis Johnson on YouTube, but he has a fantastic bit about.
Oh yeah, that's actually, I know what you're talking. It's that one guy that you tangentially know, right? That
yeah,
like a body language guy.
No. That's a totally different human.
Okay, because I did watch some of his YouTube videos on Big Ed, which I thought were pretty fun.
But no, yeah, I became aware of this guy by means of Jarvis Johnson on YouTube, and
He's
so
just very, very cringe-inducing how bad this guy is.
yes, no, for
Anyway,
sure.
I guess my last point about the Santa Claus is when Santa Claus dies at the beginning of the film,
Mhm.
he like sticks his thumb up, like he's like excited about Tim Allen.
He's the Terminator going down, right?
When I was rewatching this, I was just kind of like, is he cool with this dying? And he just seemed very nonchalant about his death. Maybe, I don't know, but
I mean, who
on some
knows how
levels,
long that Santa Claus has been alive for?
well, Scott Calvin, his obviously it's Santa Claus is his initials is the same. So I'm wondering if that was some sort of predestination or what was going on there exactly. But it's definitely sort of interesting. It's kind of sad too in a way, because I mean he's going to be immortal and his child is going to grow old, and
It's kind of a Vandal Savage situation, you know. He's going to outlive his children.
how there would be a movie. I would watch that. You like see like Tim Allen like completely young, well not young, but old Santa Claus, and his son's like on his deathbed, sort of like a Captain America Penny Carter situation.
That would be fantastic. I'd watch the shit out of that.
Okay, well I guess we should move on to our, well unless you want to choose a different number two, but
No, I mean that was what would even be my number two if I didn't pick the Santa Claus?
there's a lot of good options.
I mean, there are a lot of good, like, I mean, okay. So if my original number two pick was going to be the Santa Claus, a brief but honorable mention that I would use as my number two would be the Snowman, which is in fact quite an old.
The Snowman, I haven't even heard of that one.
Yeah.
So is that like Frosty the Snowman or Jack Frost, or
no. So
is it a horror film? Have you seen Krampus? That movie's not too bad. That's sort of a Gremlins vibe about it. I kind of like it.
So yeah, the original Snowman movie came out in 1982. And it actually has no dialogue in the whole movie. It's entirely orchestral for the whole movie, but it's an animated feature. And it's a movie that means a lot to me, tangentially, only because it's one of my mom's favorite Christmas movies. But yeah, it's like the journey of a like Frosty the Snowman type. It's an animated snowman that goes on an adventure with a young boy the night before Christmas, on Christmas Eve. And it's a very colorful movie. Like it's all hand animated. Like it's a fun movie. But yeah, like the kid goes on an adventure to meet Santa Claus is pretty much like the whole premise of the movie. It's pretty short. I think it's like 30 minutes. Yeah, it's like the animation is fantastic. It's very cute and charming. Like
maybe I'll have to check this out.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. I don't know where you could watch it, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people's favorite films, Christmas films, is tied up with sort of nostalgia. So, like Charlie Brown Christmas, and there's a really weird Raisins special. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Oh man,
raisins.
Yeah, the
like
raisins.
California raisins.
Yeah,
really? That's like a Christmas thing.
Yeah, there's like a really weird Christmas. It's all like claymation. It's very strange and sort of creepy.
Sure.
And then Polar Express. There's another one. I'm like, I've seen it a few times. I just don't really dig it. It's just kind of creepy to me.
I get why Polar Express, because I think with Polar Express, for me at least, musically, that movie it really stands out because the music in that movie is really good. As another reason why like the Snowman, you know, came to my mind and thinking of a new number two is that like musically the music is really, really good. Haunting in some portions, honestly, in like a way that like I feel like kind of like reaches into your soul a little bit, you know, a little bit more than you'd be expecting out of what is seemingly a children's film. But yeah, highly recommend it.
It's like that one movie, the Grinch remake with Jim Carrey. I feel is not a very good film, but I feel like people are so nostalgic about stuff from their childhood. That they like it.
Yeah.
Another shout out before I move on to my number one is and movies are just coming at me fast now. Muppet Christmas Carol is another one I do dig.
Yeah.
I do like that one. Jingle All the Way.
Yep.
That's a pretty terrible film as well, but sort of weirdly enjoyable, especially if you're a Schwarzenegger fan. Like
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. I'm like just naming off movies, Matt. You probably already have. I've named off probably your number one or something. But my number one, just for pure nostalgic reasons, and well, not that reason. I think it's actually a legitimately hilarious movie. Is A Christmas Story is my number one pick.
Oh, sure. That's a classic pick. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's either TBS or one of those TNT stations that have like a 48-hour marathon before Christmas, and it's just a hilarious movie, and a lot of parts of that actually. It's like I have nostalgic memories about stuff that never happened from that movie. So
yeah, well, I mean, I think that whole scene of fudge like just really stand out, right? Like,
yeah, every scene in that movie is amazing. I think my favorite scene, and it's so dumb, but it's him and his brother are waiting in line to see Santa.
yes.
And this kid walks up, and I can't remember what he says, like something really weird. He just like looks at him, and I can't remember the characters' names right now. I probably would if I'd seen it recently, but he just like looks at the kid, and he's just like, yeah. Looks away. And it's just something about that. It's so true to my life experience. It's just somebody saying something really weird. I'm like,
just the whole bit with him like having sat on Santa's lap and then being pushed down the slide by Santa's boot. Ho, 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 and like pushes him down the slide. Like, get away from me, kid. It's just so funny.
Well, and the lamp scene obviously is
timeless. The lamp. I mean, that's transcended time. By itself, the reference is transcended time.
Yeah, I mean, this almost like every here's a picture of the kid. I just put in in the Christmas Story crazy kid. I'll show it real fast. It's just the way you look.
Oh shoot.
It's this kid.
Right, yeah, the kid with the goggles. Holy crap, I totally forgot about it.
Man, I wish I could show that video on this, but I doubt I'll be able to. But it's just so funny. I just love that scene so much. Ralphie. Ralphie is his name.
Ralphie, yeah.
This is the way.
Wait, no, isn't Ralphie his younger brother the one that's like? Yeah, because Ralphie's the kid that gets.
Yeah, no, you're right. Is it what's his?
I forget the name of the crazy kid though. It's been so long. I remember Ralphie only because.
It is Ralphie. It is the kid with the glasses. Is Ralphie?
Oh, is the main kid? Okay,
yeah.
Sure.
I think that actually this kid, he actually went on to have a pretty big career in Hollywood as like a producer or something. Interestingly enough. And I think he may have appeared in Elf. As an Elf.
I was gonna say I was waiting for you to maybe say that Elf was your number one choice, because Elf for a lot of people it is.
Oh no, I completely forgot about Elf actually. I'm also weirdly enough, they did make a sequel to The Christmas Story, and I don't think it's really popular. I've never seen it, but
cool.
Yeah, they made like a summer vacation one. Anyway,
weird.
It definitely was not as popular. So yeah, Christmas Story is my number one.
It's funny that you mentioned that you may have mentioned my number one pick, because you 100% did. Muppet Christmas Carol is my number one choice. I love that movie so much. I watch it every December, every year without fail. Like, that is a movie that I pretty much have to watch. I could probably like pantomime that movie from memory at this point for how many times I've seen it. It's a delightful retelling of the original like Christmas Carol story, with Muppets.
And Michael Caine.
And Michael Caine, yeah, Michael Caine as Scrooge, like his performance in that is fantastic. And you have all your favorite Muppet characters. You got Kermit, you got Gonzo, like you got Miss Piggy, you got Fozzie Bear, like anyone, like Swedish Chef makes an appearance in this movie. It's fantastic. It's a great movie. If you've never seen it, you really should. I think it's one of those, like, it's a classic Christmas movie. You can show anyone, it'll put a smile on your face. It's just so good.
I think my favorite Muppet movie, that one's the second favorite, but you know it's going to be my favorite.
Yeah, I know. Muppet Treasure Island for sure is your number one.
That movie's so funny. I love that film.
I got cabin fever. I got it too.
Yeah, there's just some lines in there like, just, we see you have boom boom stick. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We see you have boom boom stick. Bye-bye.
Or the classic Dead Tom's Dead.
Dead Tom's Dead, yes.
Long John shot him. I love that.
Oh, shit. No, yeah, like, I mean, it almost seems unfair choosing a Muppet movie for this, only because, like, who's going to compete with the Muppets, right? But Muppet Christmas Carol just is something I've watched. I watched it with my family just about every December growing up. A movie that could have made my top 3 list, but it's from exposure almost, is It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, I just never have liked that one for some reason.
I watch that movie every single year more out of demand by my family versus want. Because as a kid, it's a black and white movie about really serious topics. It's like, boy, you know what'll really put me in the mood for Christmas? Depression, which that movie is. Like, it has a happy ending, but goddamn, like as a kid, I was just like, oh my God, we have to watch It's a Wonderful Life again. Meanwhile, Muppet Christmas Carol, I've got my popcorn ready already. I'm like, let's do this. I'm ready for this.
I will probably watch Die Hard at some point soon, because I do really like that film, and it does have a Christmassy vibe to me. So,
Die Hard would be like an honorable mention for my list. Only, like, it wouldn't make my top 3. I'm not gonna lie, it wouldn't make my top 3. But it's a fun movie. Like, I love quoting that movie. Now I have the machine gun. Ho ho ho. Like,
yeah. Yeah, there's probably tons of them I'm forgetting. Like, I can't believe I completely forgot about Elf. Like, I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan, but I do enjoy that film, but it's not my favorite.
No, and then you have like the Rudolph movies, like those old claymation films.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that film, and I think it's good. Or special. It's not really a film, it's only like a 40 minutes long, probably. I would guess, maybe less even.
Yeah, like Frosty the Snowman, like the animated one from years ago.
Yeah.
Shoot, and then I think we already mentioned like Nightmare Before Christmas. That would be like up there with Die Hard.
I kind of feel like that's more of a Halloween movie, even though Christmas isn't the title. But
yeah, like I have no issue with that movie. In fact, I really like that movie, but I don't count it as in my top of Christmas movies, only because like the Halloween theme's a little bit too pervading for me to put it up in that number.
If you go to Disneyland, probably Disney World too, during this time of year, I like how they redecorate the Haunted Mansion as Nightmare on Elm Street themed, which is kind of interesting. Though,
oh really?
To be honest, I was a little disappointed just because I really just wanted to go on the Haunted Mansion ride.
This is the Haunted Mansion ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Halloween and Disneyland was pretty cool. I will admit.
Sure.
Like, I was actually expecting it to be decorated more Halloween-like, but it's still just really fun.
I would love to do that sometime. That'd be a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, like I would love to go to to spend Christmas in New York, maybe someday. But
yeah,
we didn't even mention Home Alone.
Oh yeah, see, like again, that's another one that movie would make my top 10. Yeah. Probably both Home Alone 1 and 2 would probably be in my top 10. because just those are classic Christmas movies, right? Especially with like our age bracket too. Like we grew up on those movies, and
I actually didn't. I didn't really. My mom didn't like it, so I didn't really watch it growing up. But
really,
I watched it several. I've seen both of them several times now, like the first and second, and I do think they hold up.
yeah, no, I think
Plus, I love the '90s vibe of the whole thing, so it makes me happy.
right, yeah, a simpler time, an easier time.
Yeah, like
Oh
Pigeon
man,
Woman and
Pigeon Woman and former President Donald Trump
oh
showing
yeah, I
up
forgot he was in
in
that
Home
movie
Alone
because he
too.
stays
Yep,
in that
stays in the same
hotel.
hotel
I
as
can't remember what the
Macaulay
name of that
Culkin.
hotel is. It's right off of. It's right by Central Park, and
Yeah, I don't
it's a
remember.
really beautiful hotel, but it's infamous. But I can't remember what its title of it is.
But no,
Anyway, I haven't really been feeling Christmas this year for whatever reason. So it's good to talk about this with you, Matt. Well, but I think we can probably move on to the last topic that we have, and I think you kind of wanted to talk about Halo a little bit.
oh, only very briefly. And like honestly, it's like in terms of theming, it doesn't fit in at all whatsoever.
We can split this video up too. We don't have to keep it as one
Yeah,
long
I
video.
know. My Halo talk really only comes down to a particular happenstance that happened to me today, even. Um, so Halo Infinite, the campaign for Halo Infinite came out very recently, if not within the last week, and it had occurred to me that, like, in being a Halo fan, I had played through Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, ODST, but I had not played all the way through the Halo 5 campaign. I had stopped playing the Halo 5 campaign and decided, you know what, I'm going to play this before I even touch the Halo Infinite campaign. And so 4 years ago, I had dropped, 4 years ago, I had dropped the Halo 5 campaign. And so I had to like re-download all this shit onto my Xbox to get it going to where I could just play the game, updates and everything like that. It took 2 hours to download all the updates for this game. And then finally, like got the game downloaded. I'm like, all right, finally, time. It's kind of time to dive in. I'm going to take the time it takes to finish this campaign. I left Halo 5 on the final mission, the final act of the final mission. So I literally played for 10 minutes and then cutscene, and then the game ends. So for 2 hours of effort, I finished up the campaign for Halo 5 4 years after the fact. And was like, all right, it's done. I guess I can play Halo Infinite now. It was the most ridiculous thing that I like just in my brain. I was like, I need to finish this before I can do this campaign. 10 minutes of gameplay, wet fart of an ending, and then now I can apparently move on.
Yeah, it's funny. That's that's all I have to say about that. I don't know. Should we end the show? I don't know if there's much else to talk about.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we're drawing upon our near 2 hour mark here shortly. So I do think that we have come to a good ending place for this episode of the Nerds and Other podcast. So I want to thank all of you for joining us today for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed this episode, our random ramblings as they always are. Thank you all for watching. We'll be talking about another episode of Hawkeye next week. I believe it'll be the second to last episode of the season for Hawkeye, and then probably what other shenanigans we decide to talk about. So again, thank you all for watching, and we hope you all have a great week, and we will talk to you in the next episode of the podcast.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. And I will say before we head out briefly that we did not have to go to the bathroom once during this. So,
Hell yeah, we nailed it.